What's up, everybody? Justin back with another episode of our reactions / in this case, roundtable, because there's a couple of us here to discuss this. We're going to give you a spoiler-filled, so stop watching at this point if you haven't watched Disney's Onward at this point, okay? Because we are going to give you some spoilers.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I want to do my warning voice.
All right, do your warning voice.
Warning. This material contains spoilers. If you have not seen the Disney movie Onward, then you probably shouldn't watch this. Thank you.
All right, so there you have it. You've been warned. All right, so Disney's Onward. We went and saw it opening weekend before everything started to go on with the world.
Well, Disney Pixar's.
Yes.
Sorry.
So we got to go see it in the theater right away. It is available right now for purchase digitally, and April 3rd, I believe it is coming to Disney Plus. They announced they wanted to get it to everyone's hands because people can't get to the theaters right now. So, Onward. What do we think? What do we want to tell them about it?
As I was going to say before she interrupted me, it was a great movie. I just thought the characters were great, the story behind it was great, and I just loved it.
Yeah. I think for me, I fall in between the two of them. There were some things I really, really loved about it, and some things that I wished they would have done a lot more with it.
So, in my opinion, I loved it. I really did like it. My expectations were too high. You know how you go into movies sometimes and you just this movie had everything from the previews, had everything in it I could possibly want. It was fantasy. It was Thor. Wait,
no, it was
Star-Lord and Thor.
No,
right? I keep thinking it's Thor.
Star-Lord,
Chris Pratt,
Spider-Man,
and Tom.
Oh, Tom Holland. Okay, so it's Spider-Man and
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord. Okay, I can't get this out. It two great voice actors that were perfect for the roles. Absolutely perfect for the roles. It looked like it was going to be absolutely hilarious, which it is. And I don't know. It looked like it was going to be my favorite Disney movie ever in the history of ever, and it doesn't quite make it up to that for me. So anything I say negatively, especially once I get to watch it again in like a whole week, I'm going to be very excited to do that. I will definitely watch it again, which I can't say for all Disney movies. So I definitely liked it. I enjoyed it a lot, and my expectations were just too high. So that's all.
Your expectations were really high, and it's not your favorite Disney movie because nothing can live up to Mary Poppins. Or anything else.
Well, Beauty and the Beast for her.
Emperor's New Groove is my favorite Disney movie, so that should put you in a realm of understanding the weirdness that is my brain, which is why I thought this would be a great movie for me, because it seemed weird and it seemed hilarious, which is Emperor's New Groove. So
it is weird, and
it is. Don't get me wrong, it is. And one thing before we really get rolling, one of my favorite parts of this movie is that their mom is actually involved in the story. You get so many Disney, so many everything movies where the parents aren't involved in at all, which is a convention of children's writing. You have to get rid of responsible adults in order for kids to have zany, crazy adventures. But in this case, they found a way to have the boys have a zany, crazy adventure, and mom also be following along, having her own little adventure. And I thought that was really handled really well. Plus the blended family, not blended family, but the step father. boyfriend. He's not
father yet.
But having some sort of representation of a different type of family is awesome to have in a Disney movie. So those things were great. I think both of the boys are awesome and they're hilarious, and I love them. The journey is amazing. But yeah, I love that mom got to be involved. And the what is she? She's not a minotaur. What is she?
Chimera.
Oh, Chimera. Yeah, everything. She's hilarious. I love the Chimera.
Yes.
She's I want to be her when I grow up.
Interrupt her now. Go
I'm
ahead.
going to interrupt you now
I'm
because
done. Can I leave?
Okay.
I don't even want to be in this video.
Go ahead.
So the movie was really good. I really liked that they had like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of board thing.
Yes.
That was
The board game
that was fantastic.
that the older brother
That was
plays.
fantastic because watching the trailers, I'm like, that the older one, Barley, I'm like, he would probably love Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
And then we go into the movie, and I'm like, yes, I was right. He actually
Yes.
does have a game like that in his realm.
Yes. So the overall story, the overall idea, is our two main characters. Their father has passed away, obviously at some point, and they discover on the youngest one's birthday.
Ian,
I can't remember his name.
Evan, Ian.
The youngest.
Why don't
Ian,
we
I think it's
research it
Ian.
before we...
I think it's Ian.
Ian. Oh,
Ian
well,
Barley.
the youngest son's birthday, that their father left him something, and it's a staff. It's a magical staff and a spell on how to bring him back for one day so he can meet his son. So that starts us off on this giant adventure. This quest, which Barley is super excited to be a part of.
Going on a quest.
And so
Come, dear brother, we're going on a quest.
Right. So, yeah, Barley's kind of the epitome of the slacker older brother, if you will. At least that's what everyone thinks of him as, which is not really the case. And so he convinces the younger brother to go on this quest so that they can get the Phoenix Stone to bring Dad back, because they accidentally use what they have and bring Dad back only halfway, so they only get his legs.
Which isn't their fault, because their Phoenix Stone is cracked, the one that Dad leaves them. So it isn't a matter of effort, it's just a matter of a broken stone.
So
Also, they don't know how to use magic.
Well, in the
Wait,
very
Dad.
beginning of the movie talks about how the land was once full of magic, and it was a magical place, and there were
technology took over.
wizards were everywhere, and then technology became
And laziness took over.
Like
It's really about laziness taking over. Because technology takes over because people are too lazy to learn the magic, because you actually have to study to learn it. That's their main key in that part of the opening of the
talking
movie.
to everybody that's using their technology to watch.
I know.
Like, okay.
I mean,
It's magic.
no, it's like it's the they're all like, I can't do this magic. I'm gonna give up. Bye.
Yeah,
right.
Because
Magic takes effort,
So-
whereas where flipping a light switch just takes flipping a light switch.
Yeah.
They go on this quest. They go to see the Chimera, who has the directions on how to get another Phoenix Stone. But she's now running a restaurant and is not really crazy, powerful, evil, whatever you want to call her anymore. Because, of course, she has kind of transitioned to that more modern phase, too.
I think that's one of the things I wanted a little bit more of. They did a great job in the beginning of the movie of combining that game, which Barley tells us is kind of a historical record, actually. It's not fiction. It's not historical fiction. It's a historical fact, and it's based on what used to be around. So he uses that, and we find, and his family, who thinks the game is silly,
Which
and all
sets
that
him
stuff,
on the quest.
they come to discover that is actually historical. That is who the Chimera was the guardian of this quest to go on to find the crystal. And so I wish there was a little bit more of that thrown in as they go through the quest, but it almost makes its own video game, like a great, dungeon crawling fun thing.
Yeah,
They
and
do
you
that
get
stuff.
you get a lot of things mixed in as they go. You get a lot of where they end up in the tunnel, and he starts learning spells, and they have to cross a bridge, and he has
Giant
to
Cheeto.
right giant Cheeto, and he has to figure out the spell to learn to cross this chasm because he can't get to the bridge. And so the younger brother starts to learn spells, but he's unsure about doing it, and the whole time Barley is like, you can do it, and he's telling him how to do it, and he's kind of the driving force of everything in the end.
Yeah, he's like, in the beginning he tries to do the magic and he knows how to do it. It's just that the magic, kind of everything faded away.
Yeah.
So that it skipped a lot of people.
Yeah, so unfortunately, just like a lot of us with something that we are super passionate about and stuff like that, maybe it doesn't come easy or at all in his case, but then his brother can do it.
And so the movie itself is made up of kind of a lot of other movies when you think about it, and you're not going to know most of these, but Mommy will and the people watching will. But like the dad who's only half there, you get some Weekend at Bernie's moments where he's flopping around and funny things are going on.
He even has the best glasses, I think.
Yeah, and you get the mom ends up going on her own little quest, which then turns into a quest with her and the Chimera, and you almost get some Thelma and Louise kind of like adventure running from the cops at a point, you know, doing their own little things. So you get some pieces of other movies, like older movies that adults are gonna get that are gonna go over top of kids because they haven't seen those movies because they're old at this point.
I've never seen Thelma and Louise.
Okay.
And wouldn't it be underneath kids because they're older?
Over top of your head. It's a saying.
Like that.
Things,
just went over top of your head.
The jokes, woo, go over your head.
I know,
It's
but
like, woo.
I know, but it should be that it goes under you because they're older. And older's it's normally like it's
Okay,
got
okay.
this
Okay.
one,
Okay. So the big kind of moment realization that happens towards the end of the movie, and again, obviously if you're watching this you've seen it because we've spoiled some stuff and this is going to be the big spoiler, is we get the two big moments. We get a moment where the Barley finally tells the younger brother the other memory that he has of Dad, because he's told him all this time, he's like, I have three memories. He finally tells him there's a fourth memory, and that fourth memory is sad, which is why he's never told it to him. And that fourth memory being the moment where his dad was sick in the hospital and he was supposed to go in to see him, but he was too afraid to do it. Which, if you understand when you watch the movie, really tells us why Barley the way he is, because at that moment he tells him, he said, at that moment, once that happened, I decided I was never going to be afraid of anything again. So Barley's kind of the daredevil somewhat in the movie, saying, do this, you can do it, don't be afraid, but it's because of that moment in his life.
Where he was afraid.
And then we get the biggest moment at the end of the movie, where Dad does get brought back, but it's for a very short amount of time. And the younger brother decides, because of everything he saw, because of everything he remembers and everything he realizes now about Barley and how much Barley has looked out for him and helped him and really been there for him as his family, that he lets Barley have that moment with Dad, right?
Right. Because he realizes that
that's more important.
Where he always thought he needed his dad, he realizes that Barley has actually been partially in that role and has done that. His checklist has done everything on his checklist with him, and has been the entire time he's growing up. So, yeah, it's exactly how it needed to end.
Yeah, it's a very it's the powerful Pixar emotional moment that you come to expect in their movies.
Yeah, like because in Finding Nemo and
Mm-hmm.
Brave and all those other
Well, you
ones.
go through this whole movie expecting
Story.
the boys to both have a chance to see and talk to their dad, and you get to the end, and you as an audience, you don't even get to hear what Barley and Dad say together. You're just watching it from a distance, because the whole journey, as the audience member, you're more along with the young Ian,
I think.
Whatever his name is. We
Ian.
really should have researched that. That's what happens when you've only seen it once. We'll see it again soon. You've been following, you're kind of in his steps, watching from and looking through his eyes a little bit. And so that's how it ends, is you're looking through his eyes while his brother gets his time with his dad and gets to redo that moment that shaped his whole life, and It's where, of course, I cried, because I cry at every Pixar movie.
You
And
cry in every movie.
Well, I usually find somewhere to cry. I didn't cry in Stargirl.
It's also that point where you realize that the journey was just as much about Barley. Like, what was going on was just as much about Barley
As it was
about Ian. So
It's not his name.
I wish I could remember his name. So, you know, there you kind of have it. There's kind of the idea of the overall story.
Now
Thinking-
out of the sad part.
Okay.
Stop talking about sadness.
Okay.
We need to talk about the funny stuff. No one cares about.
Okay.
Well, but this video will be 8 years long.
Right.
It'll be longer
Give
than
us
the
funny
movie.
thing.
Okay. What? Give us some of the funny
Your
things
favorite
that they
funny
need to
moment.
know. Two funny moments for them.
My favorite moment was the dragon, because the dragon was being built out of all the
School.
all of the school, because that was a curse that came with the stone, and he's being built out of everything, and so his face, they go to a place where their mascot is a dragon.
And it's a
So-
smiley little
cartoon.
dragon.
It's
though.
a smiley dragon, and so the face of the evil dragon is the dragon's face,
With the big
That is
smile
funny.
on his face.
and he looks like this. And then
Yes.
he starts to attack everyone.
And anytime he opens his mouth, what sound comes out? The fire alarm from the school. That's like his roar is the fire alarm from the school. So every
And-
time he like opens his mouth, that's the sound that
And
comes out.
then-
It's
and then when-
very clever. And I also love how like the face hits him, but you're like looking from him from behind, and he turns around, and then he's got this big goofy face.
And you interrupted me. I was
Oh.
gonna say that also the top parts fall, so it
Oh, it makes
the
him look evil.
eyebrows.
makes
Mad-
him look
mad.
evil, but it still
Yes, it shows
looks
you how
friendly.
incredibly important eyebrows are to show your emotions.
Okay. Do you have a second funny thing you want them to make sure they look out for? Or to see if they thought was funny too? Okay. The one funniest part I like that I remember is the weird little biker pixies and how
Yeah.
Barley gets shrunk, and that whole segment is funny.
The
and
biker-
them rediscovering their magic is
Yes.
pretty, like it's all about rediscovering yourself
Magic.
too.
Yeah,
And who
that
you
was
are.
pretty funny that the pixies are the bikers.
Yeah, they were the best.
Because you normally, when you think about, I also found another funny thing. That with the pixies, you're always like, they're gonna be so happy and
Mhm.
cheerful and pretty, and then you come along them, and they're in biker uniforms, and
Yeah.
they're strong, and they're driving the big motorcycles,
They're very coordinated.
and it's very funny.
Okay.
And the,
Reviews. Let's give
No,
our
no,
let's give
no,
our
no,
We
final.
gotta
wait,
give our-
I
Okay.
had one more thing.
Okay.
The trash eating unicorns.
Okay,
Well,
the trash eating
I
unicorn.
don't feel like there was enough trash eating unicorns.
Okay.
For me.
So our final ending, closing thoughts on it.
We gonna rate it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Your final closing
So what are we
Rating.
doing? 1 out of 5?
out of 5, yeah.
No, I'm not starting. I started last time.
I give it a 5. Even like I said, even though I might have sound disappointed in the beginning, it's still a fantastic movie. It's so different than any of the other. It's not your princess movie. There's no girls except mom, and
It's not a
it's no
What did
princess.
She said it's not a princess.
It's not a princess.
I know,
Because
but
it's from Disney, and like okay,
Disney doesn't have all prince.
So she'd give it a 5. Do you want to go next?
No, I want you to go next.
Okay. So for me, I'm going a 4. I can't go the 4-5 on it. And the reason for that is I wanted to love every part of this movie. I love the characters. There's some funny parts. I love the nerdy fantasy D&D stuff going on with it. I feel like they fell short with so much of the world. There could have been so much more of that geeky, nerdy stuff that I wanted, and it just wasn't there. Like the preview, we see the lawn gnomes mowing the lawn, and the unicorns, and how they've
the
all
mermaid.
changed, and
And the
right, and the
mermaid
mermaid,
in the
and
pool.
there's just right, but it's not there in the actual movie, other than a split second. Like it needed more of that for me to become a 5. The heart of it is a 5. The story in it is a 5.
acting.
Yeah, the voice acting, it's a 5.
I mean,
It's
the voice
just
acting-
missing that little bit. I just want a little bit more out of it. So I go
You're
4.
like a 4 and a 7, 4.75.
Yeah, so I go 4,
No,
4.5.
he's like
Maybe it'll be in the outtakes.
he's like a 4. He's like a 4.9.
Okay, what are you?
I'm a 5.
Mm.
Like you.
You loved it.
It's great. I honestly can't wait to watch it again. Which I can't say for a lot.
Yes, you can say for a lot of.
I typically watch a movie and I'm good. I don't need to watch it. I don't like to watch movies. I'm not a big movie person.
Because you're a librarian.
I'd rather read a book than watch a movie. So for me to actually want to
Obviously.
sit down and watch it again, okay,
That's
peanut
not-
gallery.
It's not.
Okay.
Well, you.
Okay, so anyway, good.
So there you have it. It's 4, 5, somewhere in that category, just depending where you fall on things.
4.99.
Okay, 4.99. Okay, so that pretty much wraps us up. And we'll see you next time on another Our Reactions. This is Justin for Row 9, signing out.
Row 9.
You want to introduce it?
Yeah, he's always saying, really,
Really loud talking really loud.
See what I put up with?
You're
Okay.
going to go.
You ready?
With lots of hand movements. Yo.
You ready?
Is that going to be bloopers?
Yes.
Yes. Are you ready? Okay, you ready?
Serious face.
This is Justin.
Justin, I'm talking really loud and moving my head the whole
Justin